Okay, let's unpack this. When we talk about the foundational figures of rock and roll, um, one name just explodes off the page. Little Richard.
Absolutely.
Today, we're doing a real deep dive into his biography, a story that I think really earns him the title, Architect of Rock and Roll. We've got articles, interviews, all sorts of accounts here.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating, I think, is looking at how much modern music you can really trace back to him, to this one powerhouse.
Right.
So this dive into his life, it's not just, looking back at history. It's really trying to understand how one artist could just...
Think about who he influenced immediately. I mean, Elvis, the Beatles, right off the bat.
James Brown, the Stones.
Exactly. So how did he do that? How did this one guy achieve that kind of seismic impact? That's what we want to dig into.
It's quite a story.
So to get that, we have to go right back to the beginning. Richard Wayne Penniman, born December 5, 1932, Macon, Georgia. And he was one of 12 kids. Just imagine that household.
Yeah, 12 children. And that household, like you said, it had this incredible duality baked right in.
How so?
Well, you had this deeply religious family background. His father, Bud, was actually a church deacon, but
Right.
Bud also owned a nightclub, the Tip Top Inn, and apparently it was, a place for everyone, gamblers, bootleggers.
Wow, so deacon by day, nightclub owner by,
Well,
maybe also by day.
exactly. But that tension, between the sacred, the church, and the, let's say, the more secular, raw energy of the club, it was right there from the start.
You have to think that shaped him profoundly.
Undeniably. It feels like the root of so much of his later persona and maybe even those internal struggles he dealt with.
And you saw the music side early on, right?
Yeah.
Singing gospel in church.
Oh, absolutely. He had that flair, absorbing the sound, the performance, the sheer energy of gospel music. He even said the church felt like theater to him.
Preparing him for this stage.
Totally. And his influences were key. You hear Mahalia Jackson, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, these absolute giants of gospel.
And didn't Sister Rosetta Tharpe give him an early break?
That's right, a huge moment. She heard him singing, just a teenager, backstage somewhere in Macon.
Wow.
And she was so impressed, she invited him to open her show right then and there, shared the stage. Imagine that for a kid.
Incredible. So the question then becomes, how does that powerful spiritual gospel sound transform into, well, into Little Richard's rock and roll?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you take that fervor and turn it into something so wild?
Yeah, and it wasn't instant fame either, was it? He paid his dues.
Oh, definitely. Those teenage years were spent, really cutting his teeth, performing in traveling medicine shows.
Right, those old variety acts. A tough gig.
Absolutely, learning how to grab an audience, how to project. Then he had some early R&B recordings, RCA Peacock records, but they didn't quite hit.
So he was grinding for a while.
For years, yeah, searching for that sound, that moment.
Okay, so then we get to 1955. This feels like the turning point. He signs with Specialty Records.
Yes, this is it, the spark, because this leads directly to...
Tutti Frutti.
Tutti Frutti. And you have to understand why this track was just so revolutionary. It wasn't just a song, it was like a sonic bomb went off.
Describe that sound. What made it so different?
Okay, so you've got this frantic, high-energy, boogie-woogie piano. He's often standing, hammering it.
Right, using it almost like percussion.
Exactly. And the vocals, they weren't just singing, it was shouting, whooping these ecstatic noises.
Instantly iconic, even though the original lyrics were a bit different.
Yes, famously cleaned up by Dorothy Labastri. But that energy, that driving beat, the sheer wildness, it just shattered what pop music sounded like then. It was raw, it was visceral.
And it just opened the floodgates, didn't it? That wasn't a one-off.
Not at all. That was the beginning of this incredible run. Long, tall Sally, rip it up, Lucille. Good golly, Miss Molly.
Wow, just one after another. Bang, bang, bang.
Hit after hit. Each one defining that sound, solidifying his stardom.
And the impact was immediate. We talked about Elvis, the Beatles.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Elvis covered Tutti Frutti and Long Tall Sally almost immediately, trying to capture that fire.
Try being the operative word, maybe.
Well, yeah. And Paul McCartney. He openly said Little Richard was his hero, that he learned how to shout sing from listening to him.
You can totally hear that in early Beatles, can't you?
Absolutely. Then Chuck Berry, the Stones, James Brown. The influence is just undeniable. Even Prince later on. That flamboyance, the energy, the genre bending.
Yeah.
A lot of that traces back.
It really shows the sheer breadth of his impact, doesn't it? Across decades.
And generations.
And it wasn't just the sound, was it? It was the whole package. His persona.
Oh, completely. That's why Architect feels right. The voice, first of all, that powerful, raspy, joyous shout.
Unmistakable.
The piano playing pure performance art, attacking the keys. And the stage energy. Just relentless.
And the look. We have to talk about the look.
We absolutely do. The makeup, the sequins, that incredible pompadour.
Gravity-defying.
Right. It was just so flashy, so audacious for the 1950s. He wasn't just singing songs, he was putting on a show. The visual was as crucial as the sound.
And kind of challenging norms around gender presentation, too, even back then.
Massively. That androgynous element was incredibly daring, pushing boundaries long before it became more common. He was blazing a trail.
And doing this in the context of the 1950s segregated South. I mean, that's huge.
It's crucial to remember that. His music actively broke racial barriers. His concerts were often these integrated spaces where black and white kids were dancing together.
Which was rare, and sometimes even against local rules, right?
Exactly. So it wasn't just entertainment. It was, in its own way, a form of cultural resistance, fueled by his sheer charisma and talent, music bringing people together.
Amazing. But then, just as he's at the absolute peak, 1957 happens.
Yeah. The big pivot. He walks away.
Quits rock and roll. To study theology, to become a preacher. It sounds unbelievable now.
It shocked everyone. But it speaks to that deep complexity within him, doesn't it? That constant struggle he had.
The duality you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. The clash between his faith, his sexuality, his identity as this rock icon. It was a profound internal battle, it seems. This wasn't just a whim. It was a return to those deep religious roots that were always there.
He was trying to reconcile these huge forces inside himself.
Constantly, it appears. And he kept returning to it, preaching, performing gospel throughout his life, even after he came back to secular music.
Which he did, right? He didn't stay away forever.
No, by the early 60s, he was back, touring internationally. Actually had bands like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones opening for him.
Imagine that. That's incredible.
And he'd often mix it up, you know? Play rock and roll, then maybe do a gospel number, still navigating that balance.
And he continued for decades, didn't he? TV appearances, recording.
Yeah.
He never really stopped being Little Richard.
Pretty much. That energy, that spark, it stayed with him. And the recognition eventually came.
Yeah, talk about that, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Inaugural inductee, 1986. That says it all, really. Right there, the foundation.
Alongside Chuck Berry, Elvis.
Yep. Then the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in '93 and NAACP Image Award. People finally formally acknowledged him as a true founding father. He wasn't just playing the music, he helped create it.
A vital piece of the puzzle.
Indispensable.
And then sadly we lost him, May 9, 2020.
Uh-huh.
He passed away in Tennessee, age 87.
Yeah, from bone cancer. A huge loss.
The reaction was immense, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Tributes poured in from everywhere. Across the entire music world, everyone recognized him as this absolute trailblazer, someone whose sound and style just fundamentally shaped modern music.
His impact is just hard to measure.
Truly indelible.
So when you boil it all down, that legacy.
Look at that voice.
Right, that showmanship, that fearless individuality.
And the defiance. He challenged everything. Musically, culturally, he just rewrote the rules.
So wrapping up this deep dive, I mean, it feels undeniable. His contribution was monumental. Yeah. He wasn't just a musician. He was a force of nature, a revolutionary. That title, Architect of Rock and Roll, he earned it, didn't he?
He really, really did. His mark is just everywhere in music today. And maybe, thinking bigger picture, his life wasn't just about the music, was it? It feels like this powerful story about self-expression, about the struggle to figure out who you are, especially when the world isn't quite ready for you.
That tension you mentioned between the sacred and the secular.
Right. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What are those forces that really push artistic creation? And how do those deep personal struggles sometimes fuel the work that changes everything?
That's a really powerful thought to end on. And a great reason for everyone listening. If you haven't really listened to Little Richard lately, go do it.
Oh, yeah.
Put on those classic tracks. Feel that energy, that raw genius. It still sounds revolutionary today.
Absolutely. Go experience it firsthand.